I, 28F, am getting married to my boyfriend Finn, 30M, next month, and what should be the happiest time of my life has turned into a nightmare because of my mom Daphne, 52F, and sister Bailey, 25F. The situation is complicated, so let me explain from the beginning. Growing up, the dynamic in our house was always clear. Bailey was Mom's golden child and I was the one who could never measure up. Mom spoiled Bailey endlessly while finding fault with everything I did. If Bailey got a B on a test, Mom would praise her effort and take her shopping as a reward. But if I got an A, Mom would ask why it wasn't an A+ and tell me I needed to study harder. This favoritism affected every aspect of our lives. When Bailey wanted new clothes, Mom would take her on weekend shopping sprees. When I needed new clothes, Mom would say we had to wait for sales or that I should just wear Bailey's hand-me-downs. During high school, Bailey was allowed to join every club and activity she wanted, while I had to beg just to join the debate team. Mom said extracurriculars were a waste of money unless you were truly talented like Bailey. The unfairness went beyond material things. At family gatherings, Mom would constantly brag about Bailey's achievements while dismissing or criticizing mine. If I won an academic award, Mom would barely acknowledge it. But if Bailey won a participation certificate in a beauty pageant, Mom would call everyone we knew to announce it. This constant comparison destroyed my self-esteem growing up. Bailey learned early that she could manipulate any situation in her favor. All she had to do was cry to Mom about how mean I was being, and suddenly I would be the one getting lectured. She regularly stole my clothes, used my things without permission, and even read my diary, but Mom always defended her actions. According to Mom, sisters should share everything and I was just being selfish. The worst part was Bailey's habit of pursuing any guy I was interested in. It started in high school when she went after my first crush just to prove she could get him. In college, she would flirt with my boyfriends right in front of me. If I got upset, Mom would say I was being insecure and that Bailey was just being friendly. This pattern continued into our adult years. 3 years ago, I was dating Alex, 29M, and things were getting serious. We had been together for 2 years and were talking about moving in together. I trusted him completely and thought he was different from my previous boyfriends who had fallen for Bailey's games. One weekend, I had to go on a business trip out of state. Bailey invited Alex over to our parents' house for what was supposed to be a family dinner. I wasn't worried since they had met many times before at family events. Mom later told me she left them alone that evening to go help a friend with an emergency. When I came back, something felt off about Alex's behavior. He was distant and kept making excuses not to see me. After a few days of this, I got a text from my cousin warning me that Bailey was bragging to everyone about sleeping with Alex while I was away. Apparently, they got drunk together and ended up having sex in Bailey's old bedroom. I confronted them both immediately. Alex tried to blame it on the alcohol and claimed it meant nothing. But Bailey's response was what hurt the most. She laughed and said I should have known better than to trust my boyfriend around her. She showed zero remorse and actually seemed proud of what she'd done. She told our cousins that Alex said she was better in bed than me and that he had always found her more attractive. When I went to Mom crying about the betrayal, her response made everything worse. Instead of comforting me or holding Bailey accountable, Mom told me to stop being dramatic. She said Alex and Bailey were both consenting adults who could make their own choices. She suggested that maybe this was a sign Alex wasn't right for me anyway, so Bailey had actually done me a favor. I broke up with Alex immediately and cut contact with Bailey. For the past 3 years, I've only seen her at unavoidable family events where I keep my distance. Mom keeps trying to force us to reconcile, saying sisters shouldn't hold grudges and that Bailey was young and immature when it happened. But Bailey has never apologized or shown any sign that she regrets betraying me. Everything changed when I met Finn last year. He's completely different from Alex, kind, loyal, and respectful. He makes me feel secure and valued in a way I've never experienced before. After a year of dating, he proposed and I happily said yes. We started planning our dream wedding and everything was going perfectly until the guest list came up. I told Mom I wasn't inviting Bailey since I didn't want someone who had betrayed me so badly at my wedding. This led to a massive fight. Mom insisted that excluding Bailey would tear the family apart. She said Bailey was just going through a wild phase when the Alex incident happened, and that she deserves another chance now that she's matured. When I stood firm in my decision, Mom gave me an ultimatum: either invite Bailey or Dad wouldn't walk me down the aisle. She knew exactly what buttons to push since having Dad give me away was something I'd dreamed about since childhood. Mom said if Bailey wasn't welcome, she wouldn't allow Dad to participate. I tried explaining to Mom how deeply Bailey had hurt me and how I feared she might try something similar with Finn. Bailey has a pattern of pursuing men in relationships just because she can, and I don't trust her around my fiancé. But Mom dismissed my concerns completely, saying I was being paranoid and dramatic. She even suggested I was just jealous of Bailey's natural charm with men. The situation has gotten worse as Mom started telling all our relatives that I'm being unreasonable and trying to divide the family. She's painting me as the villain who is excluding her innocent sister out of spite and jealousy. Some relatives have taken her side and started pressuring me to reconsider. Others understand my position but suggest I should take the high road for the sake of family peace. I've talked to Finn about all this and he fully supports whatever decision I make. He knows about Bailey's history of inappropriate behavior with my exes and agrees that having her at our wedding could lead to problems. But he also sees how much this conflict is affecting me and wishes there was an easier solution. For now, I'm standing my ground about not inviting Bailey. If that means Dad can't walk me down the aisle because of Mom's manipulation, then so be it. I won't be pressured into welcoming someone toxic back into my life on my wedding day. But with all the family drama and pressure, I can't help wondering, am I being too harsh? Update 1: After weeks of constant pressure from Mom about Bailey's invitation, I finally reached my breaking point. I decided to ask my grandfather Robert, 75M, to walk me down the aisle instead of Dad. When I went to his house to ask him, he listened to the whole situation without judgment. Grandpa Robert has always been special to me. While Mom was busy showering Bailey with attention during our childhood, Grandpa made sure I never felt left out. He would take me fishing at the lake behind his house every other weekend. He taught me about his woodworking hobby, and I still have the jewelry box we made together when I was 12. While Mom was busy planning Bailey's next pageant or shopping trip, Grandpa would help me with school projects or just listen to me talk about my dreams. He was there for every important moment in my life that Mom and Bailey missed because they were too wrapped up in their own world. He came to my debate competitions, science fairs, and college graduation, events that Mom skipped because they conflicted with Bailey's activities. He even helped me buy my first car when Mom refused, saying Bailey needed new pageant dresses instead. When I told Grandpa about everything happening with the wedding, he immediately offered to walk me down the aisle. He said he would be honored and that I shouldn't let Mom's manipulation ruin my special day. He also shared something that made me understand the situation better. Apparently, this wasn't the first time Mom had used Dad as a pawn in her games. However, when I told Mom about my decision to have Grandpa walk me down the aisle, she absolutely lost it. She started screaming about how I was disrespecting my father and trying to punish her. Then she did something truly manipulative. She convinced Dad to boycott the wedding entirely. She told Dad that if he attended without walking me down the aisle, everyone would see him as weak and pathetic. Dad called me yesterday, clearly upset and torn. He said he loves me but feels trapped by Mom's demands. He explained that Mom threatened to make his life miserable if he attended the wedding in any capacity. When I pointed out that he was choosing Mom's manipulation over his daughter's happiness, he just sighed heavily and said he hoped I would understand someday why he couldn't go against her wishes. The family is now completely divided over this. Mom has been calling every relative she can think of, telling them how heartless I am for excluding Bailey and humiliating Dad by choosing Grandpa instead. She's trying to convince people to skip the wedding in solidarity with her. Several aunts and cousins have already messaged me saying they won't come because they don't want to upset Mom. But what really shocked me was discovering the real reason behind Mom's insistence on having Bailey at the wedding. My cousin Emma, who's still close with Bailey, showed me some disturbing messages. Bailey has been spreading vicious rumors about my relationship with Finn. She told people she's seen him flirting with other women at bars when I wasn't around. She's even suggesting that Finn is only with me for my money since I'm a successful software engineer while he's a teacher. The messages Emma showed me made my blood boil. Bailey claimed she was just trying to protect me from making a huge mistake. She wrote that she needed to test Finn's loyalty like she did with Alex, to prove he wasn't good enough for me. She even bragged about having a plan to seduce him before the wedding to show me his true colors. When I confronted Mom with these messages, her response left me speechless. Instead of being concerned about Bailey's threats to try and seduce my fiancé, Mom defended her. She actually said Bailey was just looking out for my best interests and that I should be grateful to have such a caring sister. When I brought up how Bailey sleeping with Alex was a betrayal, not a favor, Mom had the audacity to say it was actually helpful because it showed me Alex wasn't faithful. The worst part is that some family members are actually buying into Bailey's lies about Finn. They're saying maybe she has a point and that I should hear her out before getting married. It's like they've completely forgotten how she deliberately betrayed me with Alex, or they think she was somehow justified in doing it. Finn is understandably angry about the rumors Bailey is spreading. He suggested we could just elope and avoid all this drama, but I refused. I won't let Mom and Bailey win by ruining our wedding plans. Grandpa Robert also encouraged us to stick to our original plans, saying he's proud of me for finally standing up to mom's manipulation instead of giving in like I usually did growing up. The wedding is still set for next month. Those who choose not to come because of mom's drama, that's their decision. I won't beg anyone to attend or compromise my boundaries just to please others. Bailey will not be invited, no matter what lies she spreads or how much mom pressures me. I finally feel strong enough to stand my ground, and I have Finn and Grandpa's support to help me through this. Update 2: Something huge happened that turned the tables completely, and now mom is absolutely livid. The wedding itself was beautiful despite mom and dad's absence. Grandpa Robert walked me down the aisle with pride, and everything went perfectly according to plan. But the real drama started at the reception when Grandpa made an announcement that no one saw coming. He announced that as a wedding gift, he was giving me his vacation house in the mountains. This wasn't just any vacation house, it was a family heirloom that mom had always dreamed of inheriting. For years, she told Bailey they would spend their summers there together after Grandpa passed away. Mom even had detailed renovation plans drawn up for how she would remodel it to suit Bailey's taste. The house has been in our family for 4 generations. It's a beautiful 4-bedroom cabin sitting on 5 acres of land, with stunning mountain views and private access to a lake. The property has its own boat dock, a huge wraparound porch, and gardens that Grandpa maintained meticulously. Growing up, we spent many summers there, and Mom constantly told Bailey that it would all be hers someday. She never included me in these conversations because, according to her, I wouldn't appreciate the property's history and value like Bailey would. When Grandpa made his announcement at the reception, the timing couldn't have been more dramatic. Mom and Bailey had shown up uninvited, probably hoping to cause some scene or drama. Instead, they had to watch as Grandpa handed me the keys and property papers in front of everyone. He gave a touching speech about how I was the one who truly appreciated family traditions and that he knew I would cherish the house just like he had. Mom's reaction was immediate and explosive. She started screaming that it wasn't fair and that there must have been some mistake. She insisted the house was supposed to go to Bailey since she was supposedly the one who spent more time with Grandpa there. This was a complete lie. I was actually the one who helped Grandpa maintain the house every summer, painting the deck, weeding the gardens, and helping with repairs, while Bailey was usually too busy with her social life to visit. Bailey had an absolute meltdown right there at the reception. She started crying hysterically about how I had stolen her inheritance and ruined all her future plans. She revealed that she had already told all her friends she would inherit the house and had even promised them they could use it for future events. Mom joined in, yelling that Grandpa was being manipulated by me and that he would regret his decision. They caused such a scene that security had to escort them out. After they left, Grandpa pulled me aside and told me something that explained their extreme reaction. Apparently, Mom and Bailey had been pressuring him about the house for months. Mom tried to trick him into signing over the property to Bailey by disguising the papers as medical documents. When that failed, they started showing up unannounced at his house almost daily, trying to guilt him into changing his mind. They told him I didn't deserve any inheritance because I was tearing the family apart by excluding Bailey from my wedding. But their manipulation tactics had the opposite effect. Their behavior only convinced Grandpa that giving me the house was the right decision. He said he knew I would respect the property's history and make new memories there with my own family someday. He wanted to show Mom and Bailey that their manipulative behavior wouldn't work anymore. Now Mom and Bailey are flooding my phone with angry messages and voicemails. They're threatening to contest Grandpa's decision in court, claiming he's not of sound mind or that I coerced him somehow. Mom keeps saying I turned Grandpa against them and stole Bailey's birthright. The same relatives who boycotted my wedding are now calling to lecture me about how unfair this is to Bailey and how I should give her the house to keep peace in the family. But I'm not backing down. The house is legally mine now, and I plan to honor Grandpa's wishes by keeping it in the family and maintaining it properly. Finn and I are already planning to spend our honeymoon there, and we're excited about making it our own while preserving its history. It feels like perfect karma that the house Mom tried so hard to secure for Bailey ended up being my wedding gift instead. Update 3: The past 3 months have been absolute chaos. Mom and Bailey tried every possible way to pressure me into giving up the vacation house. They hired a lawyer to challenge Grandpa's gift, claiming he was manipulated or not mentally competent when he made the decision. But since all the paperwork was properly done and Grandpa is clearly of sound mind, their legal efforts went nowhere. After failing legally, Mom switched to emotional manipulation. She started sending relatives to guilt-trip me, telling everyone that I was destroying Bailey's mental health by keeping the house. According to Mom, Bailey had planned her whole future around inheriting that property. She claimed Bailey was depressed and couldn't eat or sleep because I had stolen her dreams. Mom even tried to convince Grandpa that the stress might drive Bailey to do something desperate. Bailey took her drama to social media, posting a long rant about how I had stolen her inheritance and ruined her life. She shared old photos from the house, writing emotional captions about all the memories she would never get to make there. She said she always knew I was jealous of her and this was my way of getting revenge. She even brought up the Alex situation again, claiming she only slept with him to protect me from marrying the wrong person, and now I was punishing her for trying to help me. The situation reached a breaking point when Mom and Bailey crossed a serious line. While Finn and I were spending a weekend at the house, we went out for groceries. When we returned, we found them inside. They had gotten a copy of the old key from Mom's friend who used to clean the house. They were walking through every room, taking photos and videos, claiming they were documenting their memories before I changed everything. I immediately called the police and had them removed for trespassing. Mom was hysterical as the officers escorted them out, screaming that I was choosing a house over family. Bailey sobbed dramatically, begging me to at least let her use the house sometime since it held so many memories for her. I didn't fall for their act. I changed all the locks that same day and installed a comprehensive security system with cameras. Mom then tried a new approach. She started telling people that Bailey deserved partial ownership of the house because she had helped maintain it over the years. This was another complete lie. Bailey had never lifted a finger to help with the property. In fact, the last time she visited before the wedding incident, she had left the place a mess and broken an antique mirror that Grandpa loved. I finally snapped and told them both that they would never set foot in the house again. I reminded Mom how she had always excluded me from her plans for the property, acting like Bailey was the only one who cared about family history. I pointed out how Bailey had never shown any interest in helping maintain the house until now. They only wanted it because Grandpa gave it to me instead of them. I've blocked their numbers and all social media contact. Some relatives are still trying to mediate, suggesting I could let Bailey use the house on weekends or holidays. But I'm done compromising. Finn and I are happy in our new marriage, and we're making our own memories in the vacation house. We've already hosted friends for weekend getaways and started our own traditions. Grandpa comes to visit often and says he loves seeing the house being used and cared for properly. Mom and Bailey can keep their bitterness. I've learned that sometimes cutting toxic people out of your life is the best decision you can make, even if they're family. The house is mine, and that's not going to change no matter how much drama they try to create.